on this computer. So I've started my report. I'll wait for her to start. So mine will be slightly longer, a little gibberish at the beginning. Okay, I got a few more people to pick on here today that I know names of. So,
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you make that large?
We can. The trick is making it larger and still having it be enough of it to fit the screen at any given time. So we'll see how that plays out. So that's Sky Slope, which was last time. So we're going to go start here. So I presume Kelly's made it in. There she goes. Thumbs up. So the transaction desk is coming. Sky Slope, and not Sky. Zip Forms is going away. So I'm glad you're all getting a jump start on it. Frankly, I think it's just as easy or easier once you get used to it. I had jumped in and done a couple classes. So we were sitting around at the Monday morning meeting. I said, we really need to start a class on this. And of course, you know what happens when you're in a committee and you suggest something. So here we are. I'm no expert. I'm just a couple of weeks ahead of each of you, just to try to give you an idea of where to start and how to move forward. There's some training videos, but it's a little weird when you're watching it from their Canadian headquarters and the forms are different. And so it's, just a little wonky a little bit. So we're going to try to record this so people can watch this. Starting to be I went to a CE class, and it's funny because at the beginning of it, he did a little quiz of where do you feel you are technology wise. And it was like, don't know anything, I'm okay. And then, yeah, I could probably teach this better than the instructor. And like two of us in there checked that box on his quiz. And at the end of the day, I decided that, yeah, I probably could. So here I am. So he had a nice structure and some information, but it was not the main instructor. It was, and he was kind of, and the system, in all fairness, was having a bad day too. So I knew that going there because I was trying to do a transaction before I went, and they were like almost down. So TransactionDesk is been around. I found out that they've got like 500,000 agents on it between Canada and and US. So it's new to us. It's not a new system. So there may be some bugs in setting it up to fit what Arizona wanted. I don't know whether that will be the case going forward, but it's not. It was crashing that day a week and a half ago, and I thought, is this the way it's going to be? It was apparently just an anomaly, and I thought it was because it was brand new. Someone had just created it, and they didn't have all the bugs out. Well, they better have the bugs out. I'm not sure why it was crashing that day, but hopefully it's more stable than it was that day. That was the only glitch I've had. And so you're going to get to it from Armless initially. You're also going to need a single sign-on from Arizona. I just have to type the whole thing to get just that. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to attach this sheet to save some note taking. How to get to the single sign-on at AAR. So this 6-page, it took 6 pages to print it out, but that's really doesn't look that long here. I'm going to attach this to a document in my home group mastermind. So as I referred to this, don't feel like you need to write each of those steps down. So I wanted to, has anyone not done a single sign-on with Arizona Association yet? They were sending out emails and saying, do this. And
yeah, I'm not sure what you're.
So if you go to Arizona Association of Realtors and you go to Business Tools, Single Sign-On, they'll show you a little bit about what it looks like, instructions to complete enrollment, frequently asked questions, and log into the dashboard here. So I've done it, and one of the things they're going to need right up front from you is your NERDS number, National Association. I'm not sure why what vowels we put in that. NRDS, there's no vowels, so somehow we call it NERDS instead of NARDS, or I don't know. So if you don't know that number from your National Association number, does everyone know their NARDS number? NERDS number? Yeah. Figured. So if you come in, everyone knows how to sign into Armless, right? You've all been in there. So you know that sign in. if you sign in and you click on your initials up here, go to my profile, your National Association number is right there, right at the top. So you'll need that when you're setting up your single sign-on at Arizona Association. Go to Arizona Association, go to instructions for completing enrollment. I'm not going to go through that because I'm already enrolled, so it's not going to allow me to do that, but point you in the right direction and you can get that handled. So that's job one today. Then once you're in Flex and you click on the menu, I've added it here. I'm going to go to menu. So you see all the things that have a star on it here. If you didn't know, you can add things to your menu. So all of these across the top that I have here and the more button, these are all the ones that have a star when I click menu. So things that you use regularly, you can put a star. If you find you're not using something, you can eliminate the star and it just keep your kind of top bar ready to go. So I don't have to go into the menu each time. So TransactionDesk I can get to from the menu under products. I put a star on it, so I also can get to it from here. So I don't have to, that's just kind of half step saved. First place it stops is my single sign-on. Once I've got that in there, it just logs right in. Okay, I wrote an outline for myself. We'll see if I do any good going through it here. So the first thing is they've got these icons, which over time, that'll probably be enough. Can you see them? Am I in your way? Oh, it's on the curled part of the paper. Even better. So I'll do this once so you can see it. See these icons along the side? So if you come to these little 3 green bars at the top, it'll tell you what they're about. So it just gives you ability to display a little more screen by hiding those. But first few times through, it probably makes sense to see them because the little pictures won't make as much sense to you. I think the best place to start is in setup. You should all start here and start with the so I ran through that here. Click on the green bars. So start with your preferences. Again, I'll attach this. Make sure your profile is correct and up to date. Let's see if I can make this bigger for you too. Now this is. Make sure your profile is correct and up to date. Add an email signature. You can add your photos and logo. So we're going to go to preferences, user information. Some of this, obviously, you can't change. Your license numbers coming through. Office information, the office that you're registered at. There's no editing happening here. If that's wrong, then you need to get with your association that you signed up through and figure out why that's the local association, like Scottsdale Association or Severar, because they upload that to the Arizona Association. So email signature, I went with simple, name, where I'm at, phone number. You could I think you can put a picture in there, I'm not sure. I tend to not like the busy emails, the nice PDFs, because I find when I read that email on my phone, I can't even read the phone number in those. Sorry, if someone convinced you, like our good friends across at Activated Agent, that it looks pretty, they stink on mobile. Those big, nice, pretty with your picture PDF email signatures, they're horrible on mobile. And what do people read most of their email on mobile? I'm not sure where yet it's going to show up, but you'll want to go in and probably get your fax back cover sheet up to date, because you may need that sometime. I don't know. I'm sorry. That was an editorial comment. Company logo. We'll do that. So you're going to click on the logo. And I've got way too many files, but I think I know where to find a logo. Logos. And not that. Where's it? My home group.
branding?
I'm sorry?
Okay, branding.
Under branding. I'm just putting, just to show you, you click on it, upload. Maybe I'll use just a my. We'll see how that looks. And I'm not sure a lot of places that's really going to show on the documents because you're doing real documents and they're not throwing logos on it. But it's good to have. And your login, you could change that here if you wanted to change your password. But the reality is the single sign-on is the overriding. So I don't know that you really want to change that there. Okay, next is, get these out of order here. Okay, so under program settings, you've got several other settings you can take care of in here. The document settings is just font size. I don't know that there's really a reason to do that. Checklist settings, I haven't seen a reason you'd want to change. There's a number of things you can change, and maybe as you get in, you'll want to personalize some stuff. Again, with the fax settings, you can purchase your own fax number. Task settings, again, I haven't run into, this is, I want to send my default link to allow editings of forms rather than sending us, to send it as an attachment with a link. You can also do it just to send it as a link. But I like check sending as attachment. I think that'll be a little more useful. Authenticate and print driver allows you to print any form from an application in your PC by clicking print and section. I use print to PDF. I mean, the print to PDF in the Mac, I'm real used to that. So I'm not likely to use this, but if you don't have a real good way to print something to a PDF, if you maybe got a response to an offer and it comes in a PDF and you want to get it back in the system, maybe you might use this Authenticate print driver. Essentially, it's just going to drop it into Authenticate if you print any document. I think some of these tools, it's been around longer than I suspected. So that things like the fax, the urgency of faxes, it's probably been around that long and they just haven't kind of pulled back. I thought this is brand new and they put a fax print cover sheet as one of their primary things, but it's been around. So DocBox print driver, they have a cloud storage system called DocBox. You can store anything you want. It's pretty unlimited. I think it is unlimited. I mean, you could store pictures, and if you needed more storage capacity, it's kind of free storage. The downside is if you ever decided that you were no longer going to be a realtor, all that's gone. So I don't see, again, I'd rather control my long-term cloud storage. So I'm not really planning on using that. It's there. They kind of wanted to show it to you. Markup settings, just default. So when you type into a form, I don't know that it seems to be of the right size when I look at the form, so I don't see a reason to change that. If you had, I don't know, again, just trying to show you what can be done, not necessarily what needs to be done. So link devices. I did not yet put connected on my mobile device, so we can experiment together. So I went to the App Store, added TransactionDesk. So when you open it on mobile, first thing it's going to ask for is an activation code. And if you can't see the screen, you won't see this, but sorry. So first thing it wants is an activation code. So I'm in here, I'm going to hit activation code, HD4.
But you have to download the app first, right?
You have to download the app first, yes. I did not try that yet. It should be. HD4H.
When you click on the activation code link on your computer.
Yeah, it has. Oh, it only says App Store there.
but
Interesting.
you have to-
HD. I think that's an O or an I. What's your guess?
it's a- oh, it's a
maybe HOI or H0I. I'm going to go with 0. I'm going to go with O.
Oh, that is though. That's though.
I'm going to go with O. So I'm going to allow, so you really can't see it, but it's got my transaction list is all right there. So it may be smaller to see on a phone, but it should work on the iPhone. I don't know.
When you say your transaction list, you've already done stuff?
I've done some deals in there already. Mm-hmm.
And so you were saying that it's going to be replacing zip forms? Right?
Zip forms goes away, 12/31. If you have anything in zip forms that you were thinking, hey, I've been helping this buyer and we've gotten declined offers, but I keep copying the offer to send the next one out, on December 31st, you're done. So you won't have any back. You want to get anything out you want, but that's why I think it makes sense to start changing over now, because then you aren't going to be in the middle of working with a client and get left in a lurch. Well, that may be true. It just goes away as a paid option.
I use it for store, I mean, well, I guess in the past. So I have stuff in SkySlope now, obviously, right? But previous to me using SkySlope, all my transactions are saved in zip forms.
That goes away unless you want to. You may be forced to for the pay option. And I'm sure as it gets close to the end, zip forms will be happy to market to all of us and let us know, hey, you can keep this if you want to pay us $20 a month or whatever, you know, or whatever, $20 or $30 a month that we all end up paying for 65 services.
So is there a support number we can call and ask about when the Droid out will be in support?
That's a good question. The support is down here in the question mark, live support, online training. So you actually looked and did not see it in the Play Store? Did anyone look for it? Okay. Which is odd because this program's been around for a while. Not the only thing in the world that discriminates and only does iPhone stuff. So interesting, but that would be where you can contact them. Let's see how quick they are. Oop. All caps, sorry. Not really shouting at you, I just didn't want to go. Oh, shoot. See what happens when I play squirrel and get off on a tangent. In order for that to send, I'm going to need to, apparently I can't type. So that's probably not going to go back out. We're not going to get an answer while I'm sitting in here because I just want to kill this so I'm not playing squirrel again. Cancel. No. And I'm down on the Wi-Fi down here and it's not used to it, so Google's throwing up all sorts of. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna get back on track here. So once more, you'll see where to sign in because I got. And we were down here in the gears. And the gears are where you're going to find all your setup information. So templates then is the next thing. So it actually, and I started, so if you wanted to do, you hit add, and if you want to do the listing, template, and you want to do residential listing. So let's save as successful. So I'm creating a new template, transaction template. So I'm under the gears, transaction template. So now I have two, listing template and purchase. Click on the add button right here, okay? You can change the order of things, maybe more useful in document section where you've got 5 or 6 documents and you want the purchase contract at the top. Filter for different things if you're in a longer list of something. But templates, you're probably only going to have a few. You might do maybe you might want to do a rental template or some other template, but you're only going to probably set up a couple of templates. So we're going to look at doing a purchase standard template, and we're going to come over here. Actually, we're going to click on it. So there's 2 different things you're going to find: documents and forms. Forms are going to be the forms that you'll find in your Armless and Arizona Association libraries, just like you did in Zip Forms. Documents will be forms that aren't in there and you maybe want to put it in your standard. You can put it in here. So I added residential pool safety. So we're going to add a document, another document here. I'm going to go to my Finder, and under forms should have okay, so there's another one, obviously pre-78, but you might use once in a while. Lead in your home, the infamous blue folder. So you need to provide that to someone if you're doing the lead-based paint disclosure. So you'll see I now have both of those in my template. So they'll be handy for me to click on if I have one of those situations or both in a house. If it has a pool or if it's pre-78, that'll be in my template, and I can click and add it in once I'm setting up a deal. So forms. So you're going to hit the plus button. You'll see the libraries just like you're used to seeing. I'm also a member in Payson, so you won't see that unless you're subscribed there as well. But if you had Flagstaff or some other board, that's where you're going to see that. So we're going to click here, and going down the list, where do we want to start? What's in every deal? You're going to make me scroll down. I wanted to go in order. So residential purchase contract, we definitely want that. You're representing the buyer, so you're probably not picking the spuds up here. You're going to want the ones signed by the seller. I'm sorry? Buyer advisory? You guys think I type fast. So I'm probably not going to put the lead-based disclosure in my standard because that's like a 5% of the deals I get involved with. If you happen to be working in a part of town where it's a 50%, you may want to put it in your template and take it out of the ones you don't need it. So I'm just going to go from the top down and catch them as we go. So buyer advisory, we got. What's that, Jim? Yeah. Obviously, if you're dealing with a My Home group, but I'm probably not going to put that in my standard. I'm going to go add it in because it's easy to add them on a deal. So I'm not going to put it in my template. And not that one. HOA probably should come from the seller, but how many people actually have it uploaded as a document to download in Armless? Not enough. So I'm not going to put that in, but you could. It's easy to add each time. Market condition we wanted. I feel like I'm missing the agency, and then we're going to probably step out of this. So here's our list that's in our basket. Really small, probably to read. I'll do this so purchase contract, buyer advisory, buyer broker, market conditions, real estate agency, disclosure. Any other huge voids we're thinking? Yep, good idea in today's world. So you can also use the search button here rather than to use the scroll. Same as Zip Forms, same kind of functionality to get through that library. So we've added that. So I now have 6 forms because that's, I think, We actually had someone here at my home group burned a couple months ago. So it's definitely something you need to let everybody know early and often. I'm going to add those. So I had buyer advisory in already as my starter sample. So I'm going to go in, show you what you might want to do. I'm not going to do it on everything, but certainly on this one, I'm going to open it up. And my home group. These populate if you do them as a template. So I'm doing it in the template, and I'm going to use the template rather than using the forms. They'll populate. Zip forms it does. Well, they're wanting you to use the wizard going in the front side and put your buyer's name in. That's kind of, there's a kind of, when we get to an actual transaction, it's kind of a wizard walkthrough. So obviously we want to be able to show the buyer listed properties, and we're going to represent the buyer. Those are the two boxes that we're going to have in a typical buyer rep transaction. And so this is a purchase, so I'm going to complete all of that. So really the only thing that's going to need is the buyer's name and the date. So if you come back up to the top and come over here to the folder, some of this auto saves, but I'm kind of a freak, at least until I get really familiar with it, and I like to hit the save button. So the folder, the save button. Who remembers what these look like? Anyone under 30 have a clue what this little picture is? The rest of us know, but yeah. That was a 3.5-inch floppy disk. So here's my bars again, but so we've saved that. So that's how you create a transaction. Checklists, you can create, I'm going to just show you an example of checklists. So here's something you could do with checklists to keep track on a buyer. Open escrow, upload documents to, SkySlope in this case, but DB being designated broker, receive spuds, receive clue. Don't call it a clue. It's an insurance history report. We need to quit calling things clue because we don't use a clue anymore. But editorial license. So these are kind of the things that you could put a timeline on, and you'll see you can do them as number of days after contract. So you don't have to, if you do this as a template checklist, those dates will all set once you put contract acceptance date in. So you don't have to go figure all that out. So this list was created by someone else. The other class that I went to, this is the actual head of that class, sent these out afterwards, which was nice. So here's what you're going to do. Checklist. Boom. Yes, I want a purchase checklist. No, you have to create it. You have. You have to create it in your template. Okay. So you've got template, executed purchase contract, order home inspection. It says anytime, but in reality, you'd want to edit that. And if you have a buyer, you're going to want to make sure that's done right away. So anytime is not good. And due date. Well, I'll upload this whole Evernote thing, and just use caution. Make sure that it gives you a good starting place. So this is how you would do it. I'm going to do it related to a transaction date instead of none for the order inspection, and I want it to be after. I really want the inspection ordered probably 1 day after acceptance. I mean, I'm firing out that email. Here's the list. Right away. So if I'm doing a checklist and I'm putting order inspection on, it's going here, and I want a reminder coming up 1 hour before, just so it doesn't fall through the cracks. So that's how you're going to create each one of these line items. Sorry, I had that turned off, but and then you're going to hit save. So order home inspection 1 day after contract. So what's the next thing that you do? Document, receive. Receive earnest money receipt, we'll call that. And you have to go to needs to be a task in order to get to a date. And that's where, God bless you. So you can do, again, after, acceptance, and you're representing the buyer. You're the one actually probably getting the earnest money there. So that may be a checklist you want, the next day you want to be sure and get that there. So to some degree, this is a starting place, but you may want more or less items on your checklist, but this gives you an idea of what, somewhere to start. 2 days after acceptance date. And I don't know, probably want some kind of reminder, and a week later isn't going to make much difference. So I'm going to say that. Okay, so we're going to rapidly run out of time. So I'm going to move out of, being the first time, I grossly said, yeah, I can't talk for more than an hour on this, but I could, obviously, as we have questions. Just want to get everyone comfortable in going through thinking about checklists. So here's earnest money. So you would just go build this list one at a time, the number of days after, we want to make sure you got the bins are done within, I would put on there 8 days or 9 days. So that's screaming at you, before you get to your 10th day. And it's used by templates purchase standards. So that checklist is used by a purchase. Obviously, then you could build the same checklist, which again comes out for listing. It has things like, put the signing up, put a listing in the MLS, send spuds to buyer's agents, include a buyer's agent. Again, so they've got on the listing one, they've got days after the listing and days after the contract. So there's kind of two checklists. You list it, and then once you have a deal, there's a whole nother list. Get the spuds out, get the insurance history report out, look for the binser. So when you get to that side, you'll have, this one only had no date or acceptance date. There's other choices that you're going to get on the listing one. So I'm not going to do all the checklists. We're going to just kind of, nope, I don't want to go there. So let's do a transaction. You can start at your dashboard. This is kind of where I started. This is where you'll end up starting, and you'll get some more automation as you get better at it, but you need to know how to at least do a transaction. So you're going to start with create a transaction. And I'm going to do Barney Rebel. I don't know, is that how he spells his name? So do we want to do a template, or do we want to learn it without a template first? Okay, so we're not going to do a template, but here's where you would pick the purchase template, and then it would load those documents in. Some of the things that you may want to do on your purchase contract on the template is put the verbiage that you're typing every time, like earnest money, additional deposit at close of escrow, and new conventional loan. And some of those type of things that you're going to type in every time, put that on your template, and then it'll come up. You won't have to type it every time. If you have a standard Section 8 clause that you like to put in, because you went to John Dyer's class, and so you have a clause you want to put in every time, put it in your template. You can always delete it when you're in the transaction if it doesn't apply, but then you don't have to type it 8 out of 10 times and delete it twice. So we're not doing a template. So we're going to import data from MLS, and we're going to pick a listing just for fun. I guess this would be a dual rep one if I'm doing on my, one problem with this big mouse is it's really hard to capture things.
Where did you start when you were in transaction, like after transaction?
Okay,
go back to like main.
I did. So we're going to close that. I went to create transaction. I'm surprised I didn't say that. So create transaction.
So, dashboard maybe?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Oh,
dashboard.
okay,
Dashboard.
Okay.
Okay. So dashboard is create transaction. I'm surprised Barney didn't. I guess because I hadn't hit create yet. Barney Rebel, no templates. We do want to import the arm list data. And I captured an MLS number. Add me as, I guess I'm going to end up as both because I'm, and then use the wizard. So I would recommend you use the wizard. It's going to then walk you through the steps. So we're going to walk through one here. New transaction created. I've got 5 pages to do. Transaction type, residential purchase, status open. It brought in my listing information. So that's all completed. Subdivision, MLS number. So all that gets completed by connecting to the MLS. So we're going to hit next. So I'm not sure because I gotta make this smaller. I can't see enough on one page. Sorry. I'll zoom in if we find something. So list date. So it may be weird because I used my own listing. I should have picked some other MLS number. But we're going to say we got a deal accepted today. No, we're not. We're making an offer today because that's what we're doing first. Offer date. So we're making an offer today and it's going to expire tomorrow. So I think some of these dates maybe show on all of them, like list date, which you may not necessarily know. I mean, it's not going to force you to go back and do the math, but it may populate that because you brought up MLS. It may go back to that original list date. You know, MLS will let you know when it was listed. You just don't know when it expires. So we're going to hit next, and you can here identify your people. So I'm going to be the listing agent and the buyer's agent, listing and buyer's broker. So that clearly a dual representation, and it's showing no forms, but that's because we did not use a template. So this is our opportunity to go in and just create this deal. So we're going to, again, go to Association of Realtors. We're going to go pick our forms. Oh, did I click on the wrong one? Yep, I must have. Come on, scroll. That's really weird. Must be part of my zooming problem here. There we go. Didn't like being zoomed out that much. Buyer advisory. I think we missed that in our template. So you may want to go, include that in your template. I'm sorry? I did what twice? Oh, that was the one. Oh, I did have it. Thank you. So more about the flaws. Loan status update, market conditions we want. Not going to worry about having it 100%. You all get the idea. We're trying to just, again, watching me type is not learning. So if you do it this way, you're going to come in and you're going to have to, my name's in there because I selected myself as agent.
Oh, that's the only reason it populated.
That's the reason that populated, not because it was a template. So if I had the template, it would have my 2 boxes here. Yeah. So after I did my add forms, then here are my forms. And then you go to the purchase contract. So it's now the same way you would complete your contract. So I don't like that. So Jane Doe is going to buy, and John Doe. Oh, that's right. We were doing Barney Rubble. What's Barney's wife? Betty. Wilma's Fred's wife. So I've seen some people try to do this and put like and Betty, but it's 2 boxes. So, and the seller, I think if you go to one of John's contract classes, he's always going to suggest you do this because it may show something on the tax records and maybe they think it's in a trust. Yes. I'm sorry? You have to put Exhibit A if you need more. Yeah, you have to put C Exhibit A and put the buyer's list on there. It's not really a provision to put multiple. So you're going to have to do the second one as an Exhibit A. I'm sorry? Under Section 8, additional buyers to be. You're going to have a problem probably getting signing locations. Yeah. I mean, it's zip forms had some limitations on that. This is probably even a little more locked down than zip forms was. Because yeah, I don't know why they don't understand. Hey, in Canada, they don't let more than 2 people buy? What's up? Asking my Canadian history here. So if you create a template, yes.
What if it's an LLC?
Again, you're going to type the LLC name here.
But one person has to sign, so how am I going to like have them that one person?
So, yeah, so the LLC name goes here, and then it's in the signature block where you put John Doe managing partner in the signature block, not here. So with 15 minutes left, we're going to kind of blow through this so you can at least see the FN assign. Obviously, you're going to go through and complete this as it will. So I've completed this contract. I'm ready to sign. So I'm on that one form, but it will give me an opportunity to add other forms. Participants, I'm going to send it to myself, but I need to, I can't put another address under Barney. Well, maybe I can. I'll add Barney. And you see it's got a red X, so you find out, okay, I can't move forward until Barney has an email address. And it's smart enough to know that Barney needs a real email address. And for some reason, that's really old. Holy Toledo. And Keller Williams, good Lord, that goes way back. My computer. And mind you, I didn't even own this computer when I was at Keller Williams. So Lord knows how all that stays in your data, right? That was like long ago. I mean, I was at Solutions after Keller Williams. So, so the signing pin populated with, so if you could have a signing pin where someone needed to know that. I've never done that. I mean, if they get the email, they get the email. So we're going to say that just to show a signature. Oh, if you have a name down here, this is where you're going to fit the custom signature is going to be John Doe managing partner. And, his custom initials could be JDMP or something, right? But so if that populates from Barney and you see it knew Craig from here. So I don't know how I can keep Barney Rebel. I mean, I'm trying to fake it. So if I take Barney's name out, it's not going to need that. If I have anything in there, then I have to finish that. Custom invitation, if you wanted a different invite to each person, you could do something different there. Documents. We have the purchase contract, but clearly we need more than that. So we're going to go to Barney Rebel's forms and documents. We need the buyer advisory. We need additional clause, which we didn't complete, market conditions, agency. We have the purchase contract. So we're going to add all those. If you had received or downloaded from the internet the HOA because the other agent was a quality agent, learned from my home group and did it right, you're going to click add, and you're going to probably upload a file because you will have received that form, you will have downloaded that, saved it from the document section, so you'll know where it is. Here, you can upload it here. So that's where you bring in other forms that need to be signed, is right here by upload a file. Okay, the design is where you're going to go drop in your initials. 29-page document takes a minute. Okay, so I assigned only one person. I only assigned because I didn't want to come up with another email address to put Wilma. So Barney's initialed in there. Whatever Barney's wife is not, but and as zip forms, you've got two boxes here. You've got to go delete the one that's not accurate in the lead-based paint. Been dealing with that for years. So if you have something that, let's say, okay, I forgot to put the check mark here in my document. I'm already in signing. I don't want to exit, go back, add the check mark for sewer system. You can actually add a radio button. Comes in handy on counteroffers, etc. It drags and drops, but not really well when it's off to the edge like that. So you have to figure out how to drag and drop with this giant mouse and stuff. Yeah, you could probably do that. So let's see, can we just put an X? So that's huge if you do that. Not so well.
You still use e-sign, you have it in sign, right?
You could, you can. I think once we get through the link, the way this all links, it'll be nice once we get used to it. If you're going through something fast, and it's easy to go fall back on, take the PDF and send it out and you're done. So you kind of have to, and e-sign, I don't know whether that goes away or not. I haven't heard. Just zip forms is all they're saying. Zip forms goes away. So the e-sign from AAR, I haven't heard anything on that, whether that's going to cease to become supported as a free option. So next button, I'm going to assume it had all the right signatures in here. We're going to send invitations. I'll get that email. That went out.
You created a transaction.
Yeah, so you're,
Everything off in the same
yep.
app.
Yep. Create a transaction. If you just have a document you need to sign, like a counteroffer, you can click here and you can add you can search for the transaction. So let's say Barney's got a counteroffer coming in now, and I want to add a document to send out to that. I simply clicked on Barney's name. I'm back creating another document there. So some of the once it's signed, before signing, I think if you have multiple ones, check. So if you want to use e-sign or DocuSign, create a PDF. So if you're in here, here's all the forms. We're going to go to forms, and we want to add them. Here's our basket. You have choices to copy, download a zip, print, save as PDF, send via email, send via fax, or delete. So print it as a PDF. Yeah, so you're going to print it as a PDF. PDF name, Barney Rebel, and so it's got to tell me where do I want my PDF going, or it's dropping right down here. So here's my Barney Rebel PDF. So if you do multiple, it comes out in one line form, which you could then put in e-sign and sign it. After the translation, I don't know how well e-sign is going to find the signatures. It always seems to do a good job on the purchase contract, but not other contracts. So you got to be careful dropping your initials in.
Yeah, another agent sending me like
Even when I start out individual, they come back as one when I get them back. Yeah. So the SkySlope has a split function, which you can do them separate, but the other agent's going to combine them and send them back to you in one. You know, it's just going to happen that way. SkySlope has a split function. If you don't know how to do that, watch my video from the first class, because I don't really have time to back up and do that, but you can upload the whole long thing into SkySlope and then split it and put purchase contract 1 through 10. And you just label it and hit go, and it splits them into and puts them in your boxes. So it's a real easy way to deal with that when it comes back as one. So we've covered signing, we've covered checklist a little bit, the mobile app, how to put outside documents like the paint flyer forms. We walked through the wizard, and obviously if you start in the wizard and you do, we're going to create a transaction for Fred Flintstone, and we're going to use a template. We want the purchase template, and we're going to import from Armless. Let's see if we still, yep, have the same number. And I didn't do a lot of templating, so the templates won't have some of the things you might want to put in your purchase contract. So there's my deal. I'm going to go look at the forms real quick to show you in the agency. There's my check marks because I used the template, because I didn't go through that's my test. So by doing that, if you take a few minutes to set your template up with the phrases that you're always typing on the purchase contract, like earnest money, and you're going to be by check to title, and the things that are most of the time, then they'll show up if you use the templated form. So yes, so the signing, you can do multiple signs. It's going to come out in one form when it comes back. So this one came back. Final document. There's my final document. So it's multiple forms together. So I ultimately would take that, drop it into SkySlope, and split it out. It's similarly, I think if you set that, I was kind of a stubborn guy. I never set up templates in zip forms. So I'm going to set the templates up because I think that'll save. I don't know. I like typing. It does a really good job of importing the MLS data right in. You can do that in zip forms also. Yeah. It's very similar usability. It's just the learning curve of being something different. But don't wait till December, because then you're going to have transactions you're in the middle of and you have to do it twice. Like, the only thing that's, no, I don't agree with that. The only thing that's quicker is the signing functions built in and integrated. The only one that worked as integrated with zip forms, in my opinion, was DocuSign, but that's $200 a year. So eSign, you had to print a PDF, take it over there. SkySlope's sign thing that we do here, you can do it for $5 a month. You still have to take the PDF, put it in a SkySlope, send it out for signature. So the only complete solution was if you paid for DocuSign $200 a year or whatever it is. Then zip forms with DocuSign was probably as integrated as this is with the signing. That's my initial, that's my initial take. You will not need to renew DocuSign unless you just love it. I quit paying for it. I went to eSign because I didn't, I was trying to get rid of $20 a month. So I use eSign.
Why pay for it? Yeah,
it's quicker. If you're doing 10 transactions a month and you're doing it without a transaction coordinator, I would pay the $20 for DocuSign because it's that much quicker doing the forms, clicks, send. But if you're doing the 1 or 2 transactions a month, is it worth the $20 for saving yourself 5 to 10 minutes on 2 transactions? Right. No, not in my book. But so this DocuSign with zip forms is as efficient as this plus Authentisign. If you feel like you don't like Authentisign and you want to use eSign, then you're back to that same export it as a PDF and upload it. which is not, if once you do it enough, it's pretty darn quick. I mean, I create a document and send it as a PDF and send it pretty quick. I don't know yet. It's a little slower, so don't freak out when you send a request out. E-sign, I would get the request to sign like almost as quick as I hit the send button. It takes like 10 minutes to 15 minutes. So when you tell your clients you're sending them something to sign and they call you in 5 minutes, I didn't get it yet, they need to wait. It's 10 to 15, it's not quick. And some of it, when it's going through those 29 pages, I disagree. It's not faster than zip forms. It is not faster than zip forms. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why they decided, it's economic, I'm sure. Zip forms charge the association X amount, and this one's came in and said, we'll do it for less, and we're matching. That's probably it. So, the good news is your dues probably aren't going up. So, unfortunately, in an hour, we can only give you an overview, but let me go back to the first page and show you questions. They've got life support, online training, feedback, guides. So, they've got some walkthrough guides if you want to kind of go through it in detail again. Working with forums. So just keep in mind, documents are something that you're bringing in outside of the Arizona Association or the ARM list library. That would be documents. Forms are going to be one of our forms from Arizona Association, or swimming pool disclosure, the lead-based paint disclosure, those are going to be documents. You're going to bring those in. If you have any of the My Home Group documents, we don't have a long list, but occasionally, if you're going to use the OneGuard, you need the form for, if you use affiliate, thank you. So you need that. So you're going to bring that PDF in as a document. Forms is all the standard forms. So the nice thing is it puts it all in one place. Zip forms really didn't do that because you kept your PDF forms until you put it in the e-sign place. They're kind of two places. This puts them in one place.
You go to that support tab, the question mark.
Yep.
On pre-recorded webinar videos.
Yep. Yep.
I think there's like the third one in and fourth one in. Putting up some. That's all.
Oh, that's done from Arizona. Okay. I looked at the first one and I'm like, this one is like Canada. Sorry, Jay.
That's a really good one. You can stop it, you can do it, you can do everything.
Okay.
Not everything, but
I wasn't patient enough to do that. I just dove in.
stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it and go through it on another window or something.
Well, follow along and yeah.
You can start the transaction, but all that's
Correct. Let me show you that real quick. So when you're in here, in MLS, again, I'm beating up. So if you click on this and you hit TransactionDesk, then I don't have to type that MLS link in. It's bringing that in. It's bringing all the property information in. So I've started that, and now it's going to want to know who are my players in that. But yeah, this little drop down.
It's
So
also on the very right-hand corner right there.
Well, but that takes you right to TransactionDesk. This actually starts a transaction for that property. So if you're like my client, there it is.
No, go back to the one right there.
Oh,
You did.
that's just the general sign-in. Yeah. Well, it did. Maybe because I was in it already. Because I was. Yeah. This is. So I wasn't in a property when I clicked the one on the right to start with. It took me to the single sign-on because I'm signed on. It goes right to that. So. It's okay. Someone sneezed. No. So here's the other property. If I come up here to TransactionDesk. Okay, I'll show you the other one too.
And then where did you put in the
So-
buyers and things? The buyer
Yeah.
and stuff.
details. So this is system-wide on this side.
Yeah.
This is the transaction side over here.
Okay.
So again, same expand and contract. So it's obviously got all of the details about the property, but it's not going to have the details about who's buying it and so forth. So you're going to come into contacts and you're going to have to put,
You can add your buyers.
yeah, add your buyers and you know, by adding there. So that, and if you add them here, then they would populate on the forms when you needed them.
Some of that stuff you can put in from still not accurate. So, to the office number, they'll have the license in them instead of the image.
I didn't, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I did notice that. So you have to watch that. I don't know forms. So it's that'd be on the purchase contract. How did I miss it? Purchase contract, residential. You know, I wear these glasses and they still don't help. Residential purchase contract. Yay! I need to sit in front of that. This is what Mike was talking about. Is you come down here, and they're, instead of the MLS code here, it's putting the license. You know, so you have to. It needs to be MYHD02 right there. So the glitch is, and I don't have two agents, so
You got it right, but it's still not that license.
yeah. The agent MLS, well, that's agent MLS code. So MYHD02, state license, yeah. Firm code's right in there,
It is now.
but they might have fixed that, but you notice it had that agent MLS, the second one was wrong. So it's definitely going to take some tweaking to make it right in Arizona. So feel free to, yeah, check it. So hopefully that helped a little bit, but the main thing to do is to encourage you to dive in, and when you are doing a deal that doesn't have to be presented in 3.5 minutes and you have a half hour, go do a deal on it. If you know, are up against the gun, do it the way you know how and get it done. But don't wait till November, December, or you're going to be. What great thing where? You're talking about that button? Yeah, so if you click on that or the one up at the right, works.
Like 5 minutes.